Have you ever heard a native English speaker say, "Can I get some water?" and thought, wait, did they say water or something else? Well, that's how an American would typically pronounce water. And we do it with other common words like better, important, internet. In English, this is known as the dropped T. And being able to understand and use the dropped T is a very important part of becoming fluent in English. That's why today I'm going to teach you the most common words with the dropped T, and then we're going to practice together. So if you want to understand Americans when they speak and sound more fluent yourself, then this video is for you. By the way, this is episode 2 in my new series on how native speakers actually speak. If you haven't seen episode 1 on reductions like gonna and wanna, I'll link it down below for you. Now, one quick note before I get into the lesson, there is an amazing app that teaches English the way it's actually spoken, and it's called Airlearn. I've put the link in the description for you as well. Okay, let's talk about what's actually happening. Why do we say water even though it's spelled water? In English class, you probably learned to pronounce every letter clearly, but in natural American English, that T sound in the middle or at the end of a word often softens into an almost D sound, or it disappears completely. This is what we call the dropped T. So here are some of the most common words in English with a dropped T. Water, butter, better, important, internet, button, mountain. Also, what, that, and but, when followed by other words, often lose the T sound. So, what the heck? That's mine. Or, but I don't know. Okay? Did you catch that? Now, once you pronounce these words correctly, or the American way, your understanding of other Americans' pronunciation will improve drastically. So let's pronounce them one by one. First is water. Now, this is the textbook way to pronounce it, with a slow, clear T, water. But in natural speech, it sounds like water. Can you try? Water. Okay? So the T in the middle softened into a D sound. Water. Can I get some water? The water's cold. Next we have butter. Again, that's the textbook way to pronounce it. Butter. In natural speech, it will sound like butter. You try? Butter. Same thing. Notice how those two middle T's become D's. Butter. Butter. Pass me the butter. I put butter on everything. Our next word is better. So the textbook way to say it is better. No American will pronounce it like this. No native English speaking American. So instead they'll say better. You try? Better. Again, those T's soften into two D's. Better. Better. That's much better. I'm feeling better today. Next we have important. This one surprises a lot of English learners. That middle T does not get pronounced. So it's not important. It's important. You try. Important. That second T disappears completely. Important. This is really important. It's not important. Next we have internet. Okay? Most people don't say internet. It's internet. You try? Internet. Again, that middle T just disappears and inter becomes inner. Internet. Internet. The internet is down. I found it on the internet. Next we have button. Button is the textbook way to say it, but a natural way to say it is button. Button. You try. Button. So that T softens and the second syllable almost disappears. Button. Button. Press the button. Which button do I press? And lastly, we have mountain. Now, this one is probably the trickiest because you really want to pronounce that T. Mountain. Mountain. But in natural speech, we just drop it completely. Mountain, mountain. You try. Mountain. Okay? We hiked up the mountain. Look at that mountain. Oh, and lastly, we'll look at those 3 short words. What, that, and but. So the textbook way to say it is what, that, but. Okay? Pronouncing that T. But in natural speech, we just completely drop the T, right? Especially when the next word starts immediately, that T does not get pronounced. Let me show you what I mean. Let's look at what. So in this sentence, we would say, what do you think? What do you think? Notice how I did not pronounce a T at the end of what, okay? Now for that makes sense. That makes sense. Completely ignore the T at the end. One more is but. I tried, but it didn't work. I tried, but it didn't work. Again, you do not hear me pronouncing the T at the end of but. Okay, I hope breaking those down one by one made it very clear for you. This is the secret to sounding like a native English speaker, specifically an American. Now, we're going to practice together. This is called shadowing. I'll say each sentence, then I'll pause. You say the same sentence exactly the way I said it. Now, I want you to not think about the spelling, just copy the sound you heard from my mouth, okay? Let's go. Can I get some water? This butter popcorn is salty. That's so much better. It's really important. Please don't forget. I found it on the internet, but I'm not sure it's true. What do you want for dinner? I've got butter and not much else. I feel better, but I'm gonna take it easy today. Just press the button. It's not that complicated. The internet's slow, but whatever. It doesn't matter. We saw the mountain, but we didn't hike up it. Now, one thing I want to point out in those sentences, you would have noticed I'm using reductions, such as gonna, did ya. So the last video I made of the same format is all about reductions. These are another essential part of sounding like a native speaker. Great job shadowing me though. That is basically your warm-up, because now we're going to put it all together in a real conversation, a role play if you will. Your lines will be on the screen in white and mine are in blue. After that, we'll switch. You say the lines I said, and then I'll say the ones that you said. It's a simple and relatable scenario, two friends catching up at a diner. Are you ready? Did you order yet? The sparkling water here is really good. It's better here, yeah. The butter chicken is incredible, but everything's good honestly. Oh, I'm gonna get the fried rice. Can you pass me the butter for this bread? Ugh, no, the internet's been down all morning, but it doesn't matter. We can figure it out later. Same, so what are you gonna get? Decide soon, we have to leave in time to watch the sunset over the mountain. Now let's switch roles. You start this time. Not yet. What do you usually get? Is this place better than the last one? That sounds yummy. I'm kind of in the mood for something spicy. What about you? Sure. Hey, is the internet working? I have to check something important. Yeah, it's not that important anyway. I'm just happy to be here. I don't know, maybe the butter chicken. You made it sound so good. Great job with the roleplay. In this episode, you learned one of the most common features of natural American speech, the dropped T. Words like water, butter, better, important, internet, none of them sound the way they look when an American says them at natural speed. Episode 3 is coming soon, and we're gonna cover something that shows up in almost every single word Americans say. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. And don't forget, Airlearn is linked below for any of you who want to practice between episodes. That's all for today. I'll see you next time. Bye.